So today we're going to go over cold smoking sharp cheddar cheese. This is going to be about a 4-hour process. I like a really intense smoked flavor, so I on average go about 4 hours. If you're not accustomed to the extreme smoke flavor, and a lot of people are in the 2-hour range, but we're going to cut this up and get prepared to go out and do our smoking. And at the same time, we're also going to smoke some sea salt today. We'll make it a twofer. So we'll get set up and get started. So the first thing we're going to do to get prepared is take our 2-pound blocks of sharp cheddar and get them processed into half-pound blocks. First thing we'll do is we'll cut these in half. Nice long knife works really good for this. We'll cut them in half this way. Now we've got 4 half-pound blocks. We'll get these set up on our smoking trays. So I like to cut down through one side and then look down over the top to make sure I'm cutting a straight line down through these blocks. A little rocking motion back and forth will get you to the bottom. So if we look up the setup here, we can get 8 pounds on my smoking racks, and they fit relatively nice. The reason I slice all these into halves is so the smoke will have more of a chance to set in as we're smoking it. Now we also talked that we're going to smoke some sea salt. I like the very coarse pink Himalayan salt, just my personal preference. And we'll take a look at how we're going to smoke the salt next. So first thing I want to do is grab a bowl of water, make sure the whole bowl's nice and wet, dump the water out. Open up my sea salt. And pour the sea salt in the bowl. Mix it around. Try to get it just a little bit damp, that way the smoke will stick to it. Work all that moisture right out of the bowl. The salt will help suck it up pretty good. Next I'm going to take my baking pan here. I'm just going to dump my salt in. So now we have everything set up, all the prep work's done, and we'll go out and talk about the smoking process now. Okay, we're going to set up our offset smoker now to smoke our salt and our cheese. It's very important. You either want to do this process at night or on a nice fall day like it is here in Maine. It's probably 40-45 degrees today. So what we want to do is really keep the temperature down so the cheese doesn't overheat and all the oils flow out of it. But all we're going to do is I'm going to take my racks, get everything spaced out so nothing's touching the edges. I want to be able to get a nice even smoke all the way around it without anything touching. Last thing we're going to do is put a pan of salt in there. So if you guys want to come in a little closer and take a look inside the smoker, this is going to be our basic setup for 4 hours. We'll smoke our salt, smoke our cheese. We'll come back in a couple hours and flip the cheese over. Now, we close this up. The only way I've found personally to get this to work out is this is a stainless steel screen. I stitched a bottom onto it. You can buy these off Amazon. A lot of you know I like making my own stuff, so this is my little smoker tube. What we're going to use is applewood pellets. I like the applewood pellets. My family seems to like the flavor that we get out of the applewood the best. Hi, tiny cat. So this is going to go about 4.5 hours on our smoking process. So we're going to fill it up and we'll set it in the smoker and get it lit. So we're going to use a propane torch to get things started. What we want to do is get them pellets lit so they're burning really good, and then we'll blow them out. We'll let them pellets get burning really good, and then we'll blow them out, and then we're just going to let this tube smolder for 4 hours. I've got the smoker all opened up right now, so it's got plenty of oxygen getting to it. And I think we've got a nice little bed of coal started, so I'm going to blow it out now. And that's just what we're looking for, is just a tiny bed of glowing coals that's going to sit there and smolder for 4 hours and not create any heat whatsoever. Close this up. I like running my damper wide open, give it plenty of air. And we'll close that up. And now we'll come back in a couple hours. Make sure your standpipe is wide open so that gets good flow. You can already see that the smoke's starting to pour out. We take a look in here real quick. You can already see the smoke filling the chamber. So we'll come back in a couple hours and we'll take a look at this and flip our cheese over, mix our salt up some, and eat some cheese eventually. As you can see here, the smoke's still pouring out of the smoker. We're about 2 hours into the process, and now we'll take a quick peek at our cheese, mix our salt up, and flip our cheese to the other side. Yeah, you can see that nice white cheddar is getting a nice yellow hue to it. And if we pull our salt out, the salt's actually getting a little tinge of brown to it. And we'll just keep that mixed up. I like mine really, really smoky, so we'll give it another 2 hours. But we'll go ahead and we'll flip this cheese. We'll put every one of them to the other side. I know it's hard to see. I started very late in the day here, and I'm actually using the headlights from my vehicle to try to show you what we can actually see here, but like I was telling you earlier, the best time to smoke cheese is in the evening, so you really keep that temperature down. If we take a look, that side of the cheese is a lot whiter. We'll just give it some time to smoke, another couple hours. And we open up our firebox here. Probably hard to see, but you can just see some coals burning down in there. We're maybe 3/8 of the way through that tube being burnt, and we're 2 hours into the process. We'll close that up, and we'll close this up, and we'll come back in a couple more hours and see what it looks like. So this has got about 5 hours now on this. Tonight, it was a little cold out, so I found the oils didn't come out of the cheese and really absorb that smoke very well. So we gave it a little extra time, but our tube's burnt out. So we'll take it in and pat it down, package it, and put it away. So the smoking process is done. Now we'll take a little look at the cheese, and if I can figure it out, I'll try to put a side-by-side comparison in between start and finish, so you can see the colors side by side, but we'll take a little look at it. That cheese started off in the back nearly as white as the sink, and you can see a pretty good color difference where all that smoke set in. And we'll also take a quick look at the salt. I know it's really hard to see, but all them fine white granules that are in there really turned a darker, almost gray-like color. They're nowhere near see-through anymore. So let's get these wrapped up. So we'll start the last little process. We want to pat down any of the oils that have come out on this cheese. It's a really cold day today, so not much oil came out. They're relatively dry. You just want to make sure there's not an excessive amount of moisture, so when you go to package it, it won't mold on you. But some people like to vacuum seal this. I don't see the need. It's a lot cheaper and easier and faster to do it this way. But I'll just take one block, start it with cellophane, give it one good full wrap, wrap that around good, and then I'll go in the opposite direction. And that's all done up. We'll put it away and store it in your cheese drawer for about 2 weeks. Let it mellow out and all that flavor settle on in. And that's the end of the cheese smoking process. So the last little bit we gotta do up is put our salt away. I don't have a funnel, so I'm gonna take a regular piece of paper and fold it in half. Make a little funnel out of it. Make sure you put the folded side up. package this up, I'm going to use a bit of wax paper just because the salt's really corrosive on these steel lids. So put the wax paper down so there's enough to cover all the way. Screw it on tight and store this also for a few weeks and let everything mellow out and sit in. That's it, thanks.